Alex Eala's journey is no longer being discussed as a possibility for the future because it is unfolding in real time right in front of tennis fans around the world. And what makes her recent rise so fascinating is that it is being built on measurable progress rather than hype. In professional tennis, rankings are earned through results, not predictions, and every match, every tournament, and every point contributes to a player's position within one of the most competitive systems in sports. Over the past months, Alex Eala has continued to show signs that her game is evolving at exactly the right time, turning what was once considered potential into something much more tangible. For many young players, the biggest challenge is not producing a few impressive performances, but maintaining a level that allows those performances to become a pattern. That is where Eala's story becomes increasingly interesting because her recent results suggest she is moving beyond occasional breakthroughs and into a stage where consistency is beginning to define her progress. Tennis is a sport built on momentum, and momentum can be one of the most powerful forces in an athlete's career. A player who wins consistently starts entering better tournaments, facing stronger competition, gaining more confidence, and collecting more ranking points, creating a cycle that can accelerate growth much faster than many people expect. What stands out about Eala is that her rise is happening during an era when women's tennis is deeper and more competitive than ever before. Players from every corner of the world are competing at elite levels, making every ranking position difficult to earn and even harder to maintain. Yet despite that environment, she continues finding ways to move forward, and each tournament seems to add another layer to the growing belief that she could become one of the most important young names on the tour. One reason her progress is attracting so much attention is the way she handles pressure situations. Tennis matches are rarely won simply because one player hits harder or moves faster. More often, they are decided by a handful of critical moments. A breakpoint saved, a service game held under pressure, a rally won at exactly the right time. These moments separate competitors from contenders, and recent performances suggest Eala is becoming increasingly comfortable when the stakes are highest. Instead of allowing pressure to dictate her decisions, she appears more composed, more disciplined, and more capable of executing her game plan when matches become tight. Those improvements may not always appear in highlight clips, but they are often the reason rankings begin to move in a positive direction. Another important factor is her growing confidence. Confidence in tennis is unlike confidence in many other sports because it affects nearly every aspect of performance. A confident player serves more aggressively, attacks opportunities more decisively, and recovers from mistakes more quickly. Success creates confidence. Confidence creates better performances, and better performances create more success. It becomes a cycle that can transform a season. Watching Eala compete recently, many observers have noticed a player who seems increasingly convinced she belongs on bigger stages, and that belief can become a powerful advantage against opponents who may have more experience but less momentum. Beyond the court, her rise is generating attention for another reason. Modern sports are driven not only by results, but also by stories. Fans connect with athletes whose journeys feel meaningful, and Eala's path represents something larger than rankings alone. She has become a symbol of possibility for countless young athletes who dream of reaching the highest levels of international competition. Every strong result generates discussion, every ranking improvement attracts new supporters, and every tournament creates additional interest in what she might accomplish next. The commercial side of sports notices these developments as well. Sponsors, brands, and media organizations are constantly searching for athletes whose careers are moving upward, and rising stars often attract significant attention because their stories are still being written. Visibility leads to opportunities. Opportunities create resources, and resources can further support development. While endorsements do not win matches, they often play an important role in helping athletes maximize their potential. Yet perhaps the most exciting aspect of Alex Eala's rise is that it still feels like the beginning rather than the peak. Many players experience moments of success, but only a few create the sense that something larger may be developing. That feeling is becoming increasingly common whenever her name appears in rankings discussions. The reason is simple. Her improvement seems structural rather than temporary. Instead of relying on one extraordinary week, she is building a body of work that suggests sustainable growth. Match after match, tournament after tournament, She continues adding evidence that her game is moving in the right direction. The road ahead remains difficult because tennis has a way of testing players when expectations begin to rise. Higher rankings bring stronger opponents, tougher schedules, and greater pressure. Every weakness becomes easier for opponents to identify and exploit. Every mistake becomes more costly. This is often the stage where careers either accelerate or stall. But challenges are also opportunities, and every rising player must eventually prove they can compete at the next level. For Eala, that challenge appears to be approaching rapidly. The closer she moves toward elite competition, the more attention her performances will receive, and the more significant every result will become. Looking at the broader landscape of women's tennis, it is clear why so many people are paying attention. The sport continues evolving, producing new stars and creating opportunities for emerging talent to make an impact. Fans are constantly searching for the next player capable of challenging established names and bringing fresh energy to the tour. Eala's recent trajectory places her firmly within that conversation. She has shown enough talent to attract interest, enough results to justify excitement, and enough progress to create genuine expectations. The question is no longer whether she can compete professionally, because she has already answered that. The real question is how quickly she can continue climbing and how far this momentum can carry her. Rankings are often viewed as simple numbers, but in reality, they represent something much larger. They reflect countless hours of training, endless travel, difficult matches, physical sacrifices, mental resilience, and the ability to perform repeatedly under pressure. Every ranking improvement tells a story, and Eala's current story is one of steady advancement. She is earning opportunities rather than waiting for them. She is creating momentum rather than relying on it. She is building confidence through performance rather than reputation. These are the characteristics that often define players who eventually reach higher levels of the sport. As each tournament passes, the picture becomes clearer. The climb is real. The progress is measurable. The confidence is growing. The opportunities are expanding. And while nobody can predict exactly where her journey will lead, there is increasing evidence that Alex Eala is entering one of the most important phases of her career. The future remains unwritten, but the direction is becoming difficult to ignore. Every match adds another chapter. Every result strengthens the narrative. Every ranking movement reinforces the idea that something significant may be taking shape. In a sport where progress must be earned one point at a time, Alex Eala is steadily proving that her rise is not based on possibility alone, but on performance, persistence, and the determination to keep moving forward. And that is exactly why tennis fans around the world are watching more closely than ever before.